Hey, you like the music of this guy, right? Alright, name at least 10 songs not from the games or the cartoons. That's right, you're stumped, aren't you? Well, have you ever heard of Supersonic Dance Attack? Yeah, bet you haven't. And you call yourself a big Sonic fan? How embarrassing. You're a disgrace to all Sonic fans that know about Sonic Dance Power VIII and Intergalactica. Alright, jokes aside, do you remember ever seeing that one video from about 14 years ago about a song called They Call Me Sonic? That was weird as hell, right? I feel like any non-casual Sonic fan's known about that song for a long time now. Well, it turns out there's more weird-ass Sonic music. A ton more, in fact. I joked about it just a second ago, but I've never heard of Sonic Dance Power before doing research for this video. Most of these albums aren't even on the Internet Archive, although they're probably on YouTube if that's the case. Also, thanks to Sonic Retro for most of the information about these albums. If you ever played the Sega CD version of Sonic CD, you'll immediately notice that songs don't loop like they should. Instead, they fade out and then replay a second later. However, in the 2011 version of the game, certain music tracks got some extensions so that the songs could loop properly. Most people know about the Japanese songs using the unused loops in this version, but the US tracks have some too. These were taken from Sonic the Hedgehog Boom. Take a listen. You can get this album by pre-ordering Sonic 3 of all games. All the tracks are out of place when it comes to song order. For some reason, Stardust Speedway Bad Future is the second track on the disc. Also, some of these track names are really weird, like Stardust Present, Quartz Future, and Speedway to Good Future. Weirdly enough, the track Palm Tree Panic is actually the good and bad future versions, one after another. Palm Tree Panic Present is actually called Palm Tree Party. A similar thing happened to Wacky Workbench too. The present version is called Workbench Workout, while the Good Future version is the one with the Wacky Workbench name. This album is really inconsistent actually. Some tracks are mixed with their different counterparts like how Collision Chaos Present and Bad Future are, but sometimes they're separate and again, not labeled correctly most of the time. They even called it Toxic Cave, singular. Oh yeah, wait, I forgot to mention. This album also contains CD quality remakes of a few Sonic Spinball tracks. They sound pretty good. That's one down, about 12 to go maybe? This sucks. Next up is Sonic the Hedgehog Remix. This is more Sonic CD stuff, but this time they're not extended versions of the original songs. As the name implies, they're remixes of the Japanese tracks, made by the original composers. And you can't really tell because some of these use the same samples verbatim. These remixes are actually extremely transformative. You probably wouldn't even recognize a few of them. Take a listen to a remix of Stardust Speedway titled Dr. Giggly Ben. One of these tracks, specifically Brand New World, was used in the 2011 version of Sonic CD for the Time Attack menu when using the Japanese soundtrack, and extra credits were even given for this. About a year or two ago, the song Techno Power Mix, a big remix of all the level themes for the game, was given a fair amount of attention on Twitter. There's a lot of discussion of R2 around that time, even to the point where we got the level's concept names, Ridicule Route and Dubious Depths. As you might know, the track for Little Planet was supposed to be used for the present version of R2. However, we've never heard any other version of the song. Someone, however, realized that after the Palm Tree Panic section of Techno Power Mix, there's presumably a remix of the Bad Future version of R2. Now, is there any more proof that this is the case? Not really, but it makes sense when it comes to song placement. It's only speculation, but it's still fun to think about. Also, I want to mention, on the old Sega Japanese website, the song Miracle Blue Little Planet was noted to capture the nostalgia of Sonic CD, and the blue mentioned in the title was supposed to be Sonic's Blue. Also, according to the site, there were plans to get a vocalist at Sega, Takanobu Mitsuyoshi, on a track for this album too, but plans fell through. This next one is similar to Sonic the Hedgehog Boom, but this time for Sonic & Knuckles. Despite the name Sonic & Knuckles Sonic the Hedgehog 3, no tracks from Sonic 3 are included. These tracks were resequenced to allow for extensions and the like. It seems like a lot of people know about this one, and one pretty prominent Sonic 3 Air Sound Editions mod includes some of these as well, remade the sound closer to the Genesis versions of the tracks. Some of these are real MIDI-esque, so some of the magic is taken away, but these are still pretty cool sounding. Also of note are the track names. Sandopolis is called Sandpolis, missing the O. The bonus stage theme is called Rings and Diamonds Land, and Death Egg is called Death Egg, one word. There's also a track called Sonic & Knuckles Remix, which is similar to the ending theme of the game, which stitches each song together. Alright, let's get some of the less interesting stuff out of the way before I forget. Sonic the Fighter Soundtracks is an album that includes the unused Sunset Town track and an alternate character selection. Sonic Adventure Songs with Attitude Vocal Mini Album is an album released before Sonic Adventure released, containing all of the main vocal themes for the game. Curiously, the old Sega Japanese website has an interview about this one, where someone mentioned that My Sweet Passion, Amy's theme, has naughty lyrics that appeal to American audiences. You hear that, pussy shaver deniers? Even the Sega guys knew about it, and this implies it was on purpose. Sonic Adventure Digilog Conversation Original Soundtrack is a release for the entire soundtrack of Sonic Adventure, which featured two posters, one with the lyrics to Open Your Heart plastered onto it, and another with commentary by the people who helped create the song. Sing, Sega game music presented by BB Queens, is a collection of rearranged songs from various Sega games. One of these tracks, Funky Brothers, is a vocal version of the main theme for Sega Sonic Bros. Sonic Live in Sydney is an album of music made for the Sega World Sydney Sonic stage show. Cybershell is a great video that talks about the specific Sega World building. This shit is weird. Sonic Argon album release, which originally featured remixes of Work It Out and Super Sonic Racing, though these were replaced by instrumentals of the original songs in modern releases. The original release also contained a booklet featuring commentary from the composer of the game. Work It Out is a remix album for the song of the same name from Sonic R. Super Sonic Dance Attack is an album featuring two songs, although the first one got a ton of versions for some reason. The first song uses text-to-speech as a stand-in for vocals. His lyrics are... wait a fucking second. What? I killed Dr. Robotnik. Jesus Christ, imagine bragging about that. Imagine Sonic bragging about that. Sure, Archie had Sonic kill Eggman, but holy shit. Also, there's a lyric here where it sounds like he says, I killed Samus? I killed Samus. There's also a version of the song that claims to be 16-bit, but I can't tell a difference. There's also a separate album that's just a remix version of the song. Wonder Man is a reworking of a track called Sex and Travel, where the lyrics were changed to be about Sonic. Apparently people fucking hated this song. Wizards of the Sonic is a remix of the Sonic 2 boss theme and uses some Sonic CD sound effects. Apparently this song was a huge hit in Finland. When I was younger, there was some sort of rumor where people said that the Sonic 2 boss theme was actually a remix of this song, and I believed it. I couldn't find this song for years, but I rediscovered it while writing the script. It's pretty cool. Club Saturn is another remix album of Sega tracks. This one includes Sonic 3D Beluga Boys House Mix. I don't have time to get into them, but there's also Sonic Mix, Sonic Dance, and Sonic Dance Power, and 7 sequels. Apparently, most of these were just random song compilations and used the Sonic brand name to help sales. Nothing to do with Sonic otherwise. Alright, speed round over. Let's get back to talking about the more interesting ones. Have you played Sonic Robo Blast 2 before? You know the main theme, right? That's an unforgettable motif. Well, these Sonic Team Junior guys seem to be really fond of these weird Sonic albums. And I'll mention another case of this later, but the Sonic Robo Blast 2 motif is actually from Virtual Sonic, specifically the track Sonic and Knuckles theme. And this song was actually used verbatim in the credits of older versions of the game. This version was made by Howard Drossen, who worked on Sonic 3 for the Sega Virtual Land at opening the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. According to him, he was super rushed, but he still thinks some of the songs he made for them are pretty cool. A few of the tracks here are remixes of Sonic & Knuckles and Sonic Spinball tracks, but there's mostly original tracks. There's even a vocal track about how badass Metal Sonic is too, it's awesome. Also, the Knuckles theme remix here sounds really similar to the one for the previous album, just upgraded. Let's take a listen and compare. Sonic Adventure got an album full of remixes of the main vocal themes, some songs even got 2. These remixes are really snazzy. Unknown From Me is probably my favorite. Wait, is it M-E or is it me? I've never pronounced it before. But Unknown From M-E is probably my favorite, since it actually sounds somewhat like the original due to using the same vocals. But every other song is weird as hell and doesn't sound anything like the originals. Tails' theme and Amy's theme are fucking weird. Bake's theme uses the original vocals, but it sounds like a YTP MV more than anything. Sonic the Hedgehog is an album created by a German music label, Arcade. The songs don't really have much to do with the Sonic series, as they're mostly original, but it is inspired by the world of Sonic, and mentions Sonic and other characters in the songs. This album is where They Call Me Sonic comes from. The disc even had a music video for the track on it, which is where that 14-year-old YouTube upload comes from. These songs are real weird. Instead of being in German like you'd assume, they're high-pitched and spoken in somewhat broken English. The song Sonic and Tails sounds like a fucking nursery rhyme for toddlers.
We are Tails and Sonic, Sonic and Tails. Together forever we play our games. We are Tails and Sonic, on the winning way, cause we're friends for life. Together we stay.
A few of these titles are all sorts of fucked up too. Sonic's Brains Scrap House? What in the fuck does that mean? Does Sonic kidnap people and put them in torture devices? Does he like take their brains out of their head or something? Also, it seems like the credits mentioned someone who's using the name Emerald Hill. I assume this is supposed to be a band name made up for their Sonic releases. The most interesting songs contain lyrics, but most of them are just electronic instrumentals. Entering Death Egg Zone sounds strangely cheery for something that sounds that ominous, and it's weird that they even called it that in the first place, because the very start of the song has presumably Eggman saying, "Entering Chemical Planet Zone." Later in the track it says Death Egg Mode, which seems to imply that they thought Chemical Plant and Death Egg were the same place. which isn't as weird as you think considering they share the same assets as Sonic 2. Hey, you thought I would forget, didn't you? You probably heard this song used for Not Whole Bass from Sonic Robo Blast 1. Turns out this is a MIDI version of one of the lesser known tracks in this album, Sonic Electronic. Well, that's really it. Anything past here is 2000s material, so it's not anything super interesting or obscure. Hope you found out about something you didn't know, or even something you want to listen to. The last thing I want to mention isn't official, but I've been fairly obsessed with it recently. Sonic 3 and Knuckles Project Chaos is a really old fan-made music album for Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and some of the best remixes for this game I've ever heard. Seems to be rather obscure these days, so go take a listen to it. It's on YouTube, but if you want to download it, I'd suggest finding an upload to the Internet Archive, which are downloaded straight from the source and includes fixes to some corrupted files. That's all I have to say. Have a good day.